Hey guys, major Saturn activations going on this week. We have Saturn stationing retrograde in the sky on the 17th. Whenever a planet stations in the sky, this amplifies its energy. So we're already dealing in quite a Saturnian week. We also have Saturn square Mercury exact happening this week. The moon will also be there, enhancing this energy even more. Saturn is also in a sextile to Jupiter right now. So whatever's playing out with Saturn is likely to be happening in kind of a big way, but this is also very supportive of some type of future success coming from or as a result of whatever restructuring or whatever changes or transformations to sort of like the core foundation of things that we are coming to and that we are making now. This is a period of time where we are probably going to be looking to extract value in a more true and meaningful way from our experiences in various areas of our lives. Saturn, when we're talking about Saturn is the Lord of karma, is the Lord of time, does bring our lessons, but Saturn also rewards hard work. So a period of reaping what we've sown, be it for the better or be it for the worse, playing out as we, being initiated sort of in the energy of this week. But because this Saturn energy, the Saturn retrograde is happening also in a very close proximity to the new moon in Gemini, it is likely to color a lot of what is playing out over this next lunar cycle as well, as this is the energy that we have building into what is also probably quite a magical new moon in Gemini that we have coming up on Sunday. So that being said, you guys, let's get into our report of the day. Let's look at this energy, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, as we're closing out this week of June, a little bit more detail, how it's playing out, what perhaps we may be able to anticipate as we go through this energy over this next couple days. Welcome back to my channel, you guys. Today is Wednesday, June 14th, 2023. My name is Aubrey. This is your astrological outlook of the day, where we are actually today going to be looking at a couple of days. Today is Wednesday when I'm putting out this video. Specifically, we are going to be zeroing in though on the energy for tomorrow, Thursday. And also we're going to be talking about the energy for Friday that we have coming through in this video as well. So we're sort of looking at Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, also moving into Saturday, but I'm going to put out another video on Saturday about the new moon in Gemini that we have coming up. So this video is bridging us from now until then. So, and the reason that I wanted to combine this video is because, like I said, we do just have so much Saturn energy. This is like the Saturn report that we have playing out today because we are in Saturn retrograde week. Of course, as I said in my intro, whenever a planet stations in the sky, it just amplifies the energy of that planet like tenfold. And we're talking about Saturn. This is always like sort of a heavy hitting planet, traditionally known as one of the great malefics, although when we are dealing with Saturn, yes, like Saturn brings the consequences, like Saturn drops the hammer, like Saturn makes you kind of like pay the piper, it does rule karma, but Saturn also rewards hard work. When we've been really doing the right thing, this is when our efforts pay off as well. So it's sort of like the harvest period. Saturn is also kind of known as the reaper in traditional astrology, and so that's sort of what we're doing. And when Saturn is retrograde, that is also a period where we are sort of getting acquainted with the consequences of the work or the effort or whatever we've been putting into something. It is also a time of reworking, restructuring, reforming, reformatting, like any of the anything of anything in terms of what Saturn does, which is form, structure, lay foundation. Saturn also controls. And in the context of this particular Saturn retrograde, because like I said, Saturn is making aspects and like fundamentally Saturn is making a very tight sextile to Jupiter in the sky, and Jupiter right now is in the sign of Taurus, and Jupiter right now is in a conjunction to the North Node. If you guys have been following my planet, or if you guys have been following my channel, for a while we've been talking about this, like we've been talking about how there is a major learning curve right now that has to do with, rediscovering authentic value, rediscovering true potential, and what can be done with that to essentially like restore a sense of self-empowerment and help us to become more sort of like consciously responsible for the seeds that we're planting and what they're growing into, and how we can use those to create some type of real, true, tangible value and purpose in our lives. As we have been going through this karmic detox process represented by the nodal transits of Taurus and Scorpio, with the South Node in Scorpio, learning to detach from anything that we've been surrendering our power to, or anything that has been distorting our own view of our own potential or our own like progressive path of growth, authentic growth in alignment with like our true authentic potential in this lifetime. Anywhere we've gotten off course of really our organic, authentic growth process as a result of having been attached to anything essentially that was, like I said, stealing our power or toxic to us, or that we were surrendering our power to out of any lack of sense of value or power internally. This is kind of what this awakening with Uranus also in the sign of Taurus right now is helping us come to realize right now, grab back onto that potential, see the value for what it is, and start going in a new direction where we are really kind of activating our destiny, self-actualizing, coming into alignment with our higher self and our higher potential and our higher purpose. Because I don't think I even said it today on this channel. One of the main things that we talk about is, and one of the like main purposes of this channel is to help us see the progression of energetic development and conscious evolution and expansion that is a result of and a catalyst for our transition into the age of Aquarius, which is happening, cosmic blueprint unfolding right now. We're at the page that is moving us towards the age of Aquarius, out of the Kali Yuga sort of like dark ages, lacking consciousness energy, back into alignment with a force that is pulling us towards eventually, over the next several thousand years, a new golden age for the universe and for humanity and for the galactic activations that are transpiring now to pull us along a universe's course of expansion and evolution, and how we are playing a role in that microcosm level in the context of how these frequency changes coming in now are impacting us, impacting our lives, changing our lives, and ushering us forward along that trajectory, along that direction. So we've been talking a lot over the past year and a half about this karmic detox process, breaking generational cycles that, you know, have perpetual or perhaps been perpetuating for long periods of time, in order so that we can get in alignment with this unfolding cosmic blueprint and with the current trajectory of universe, which requires us to step into the truth of our destiny, which requires us to take off the mask, you know, to rip off the band-aid, to truly heal these generational wounds on these like very deep levels, and to create new legacies going forward that are released from the karmic ties and burdens and the subconscious programming of the past that may have kept us attached to these lower frequency states and vibrations that were preventing us from expanding in alignment with the universe right now as the age of Aquarius energy is coming in. We are coming to a point where we are able to resonate with these new frequencies, and the more that we do that, the more everything in this world, in this universe, in this reality is going to open up for us as well. The more we will become magnets for our own positive, fulfilling experience and relationships and stuff as well. That's like the plus side of the coin of a transition and an energetic shift as it's going on. Once we get into alignment with it, once we get in touch and, you know, really start cultivating that authentic energy and that authentic vibration, and going through also the Chiron-oriented processes, the hero's journey, transmuting states of victimhood into states of self-mastery, all of this that we always talk about on this channel, moving us in that direction. So bringing it back to today, to where we're at, to the Saturn energy. Yes, on one hand, you know, this is signifying, you know, maybe like some type of test period, or like lessons that we're up against, or like I said, you know, it's the reaping energy, reaping what we've sown and having to deal with perhaps some consequences of some choices maybe that we made that weren't in alignment with our higher truth or what we know that we should be doing. That's another major dimension of this. The more we can be acting out of accordance with our like moral compass and with our higher truth, and like doing what's right, making the right choice, even if it's not the easy choice, that is where our efforts are going to be rewarded and pay off for us in this energy as we're going through the Saturn energy as well. However, you know, And like I said, this is probably Saturn is stationing retrograde within hours of our new moon in the sign of Gemini, even though it's in an opposition to the galactic center, which is probably going to give us some type of epiphany or some type of much higher level understanding that comes through that is some type of catalyst for this restructuring effort that needs to go on throughout the Saturn retrograde period. So the Saturn retrograde energy is likely to play a more significant role over this incoming lunar cycle, new moon in Gemini. Especially also considering the fact that for our new moon in Gemini, which is ruled by who, you guys? Gemini is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is the planet that is also aspecting Saturn by square, which is a tense aspect. There could definitely be some lessons coming through this cycle that are showing us what is really important, what is really valuable. And again, like acting as that trigger, acting as that catalyst, or creating some type of conflict or some type of irritation or frustration for us that spurs us to take or to some type of action or to do something to create some type of change. Another thing that we need to talk about in the context of Saturn right now, Saturn ruling the sign of Capricorn. What is going on in Capricorn right now? Pluto, for the last time for the next like 250 years, just backed back up into the sign of Capricorn at that last critical 29th degree of the sign of Capricorn. This is also shaking foundations, okay? Pluto is transformation, right? Pluto is the phoenix energy. This is death and rebirth. This is purge and purification and rising from the ashes. And this is the sign of Capricorn, also related to Saturn. This is the previous structures, the previous also mental frames with Saturn, Mercury. There is a need to reframe our mentality, to create some type of new mental framework through which we are viewing, receiving, and perceiving value. Why do I keep going back to value? Because of the presence of Jupiter in the sextile to Saturn as well. Mental reframe that helps us to get real about like what's really truly important to us and reorganize, restructure, redefine as well. Redefining things is super Saturn retrograde, like feeling, energy, activity, whatever. Based on this like rediscovery of this value, and also like a desire to want to experience more of that. Like I've been like, it just makes me feel like juicing the most we can out of what we're finding to be important to us. Like something happening for some reason that is making us like really want to appreciate and get all we can out of whatever it is that we are like realizing is so important to us, and to really like make sure that we are using our time, Saturn, and using and the work that we're putting into something, that how we're doing it and the amount of time and effort that we're putting into it is getting the most productive results. So I feel like this is really, you know, the Jupiter being in the sextile to the Saturn retrograde, even with the square going on between Mercury and Saturn, really helping us to refine our judgment. If you guys watched my last video, there was themes of judgment coming up there as well. Like really helping us to refine our judgment, to refine our conclusions, to refine the way that we are seeing and perceiving and like cognitively interacting with various things in a way that is just helping us to like feel like we are gaining a more fulfilling experience somehow going forward. So again, like I do feel like in the context and the nature of this transitional greater process right now, and of the destiny activation that is trying to find its way to the surface within the consciousness of all of us right now, like this is another one of those gears turning that is like creating this energetic spark that is causing, I feel like, humanity on a greater collective level over this next couple days, moving into this new moon, to really begin to get back in touch with, again, like true value, what's really important, and maybe experiencing like a more nostalgic energy, or like reminiscing maybe about the past. Like Saturn has a lot to do with the past, and Jupiter, you know, is in an opposition to the South Node as well, and that's also like majorly reflecting on the past and on like the time that's gone that we can't get back, and maybe like what we wish we'd done different, or maybe some regrets we have or something. But in the context of how we can make changes to what we're doing in the present now to like keep ourselves from having to, fully experience perhaps like what maybe we're getting a little taste of in this energy. And it's like we have time to turn the ship. You know what I mean? Like, if we feel like maybe we haven't been doing things right, or if maybe we feel like we've been going in the wrong direction, or if maybe we feel like we've been neglecting something that's important to us that is like coming up in this energy, there's also a dimension of this energy that is reminding us like, but it's still not too late. Like, I still have time to make these changes on these deeper levels and alter the potential outcomes of this situation. And again, like, that's where we have this like reorganizing effort, like this reworking, like we need to rework things, and specifically the practical, more mundane aspects of our lives, like the foundations of our lives and our mindsets and mental processes as well, in a way so that we can begin the process of rebuilding whatever we're rebuilding right now, a life that is like much more fulfilling and meaningful to us in one way or another. So, there's a lot of positive energy to be extracted from Saturn transits, even though they can be heavier. Saturn makes us take things seriously. So we could just be, and with Saturn, Mercury, the mind, the messenger planet in square, we could just be thinking very seriously. There could be some serious news or information that we're really considering. We could be learning something that is just giving us cause to like think very like seriously or maturely or like pensively or deeply about something. Just the Saturn energy about most likely some fundamental changes that we need to make so that we can stop maybe wasting time in some type of way, stop maybe like taking some element of our aspect of things for granted. And Saturn retrograde, like this can also slow things down, and we may have an urge or desire to sort of like slow time down or slow down some aspect of our lives in the energy this week or moving through this next couple of weeks. How can we slow things down to extract this additional value or more meaning from life? How can we restructure or reorganize our lives to gain more true lasting value from the experiences that we're having? This is not energy where we just sort of want to like rush and fly through like anything that's going on. It's likely to have us just being a bit more careful, a bit more just like critical, like just looking for the smaller details and things as well. How can we make the most out of it? How can I get the most value out of it, the most lasting experience out of things? Kind of like really valuing maybe like the smaller this just like the little, like I said, like the little details or like little small things going on as well, having an appreciation for maybe like the smaller moments and stuff like that. And there could be also lots of themes relating to children with Venus and Mars right now, both in the sign of Leo, also with a Gemini, Mercury influence, partners, siblings, friends, romantic relationships. There could be some issues with authority going on. Like this is not, I'll tell you guys, like this is not a good week for speeding. With Mercury in square to Saturn, there could also be sort of like issues with like traffic or traffic jams that are very frustrating and like kind of like delaying things this week. Delayed communication also, like delayed information. This is if you've been waiting to like hear back on something or something like that, or like get some type of like result, this is probably not the week when you're gonna get the information or the communication that you're looking for. This is just like things are sort of just held back, not flowing streamline, not flowing, like there's just restrictions. Saturn brings restrictions and boundaries, and with a 90-degree aspect as well, this can bring some conflict. So there could be some conflict or some internal conflict in regards to being able to like speak our mind. There could also again be issues with like authorities or rules or something like that interfering with communication or meetings or movement or something like that as well with the Mercury Saturn square this week. But for the most part, like I said, I feel like there's just this energy coming up about like savoring the moments, taking nothing for granted. Universe is asking us to restructure, reorganize our lives and our minds in a way that extracts the most real, lasting value for us, because these are also the same things that will support us in our process of authentic growth, this, transformation into activating our destiny, fulfilling our purpose, standing in alignment with our higher selves, coming into a greater state of self-mastery. the experiences and the restructuring in alignment with that value now will support that process overall. So that is what universe is supporting right now as well. Like I said, though, frustration, inner conflict, regret, nostalgia, depression, self-criticism, just overly judgmental about things, or, coming to some type, on the other hand, this is also very practical judgments that can be made about things also, but we want to be a bit careful that we're not being like too harsh or too critical or too sort of like just gray and gloomy about things, because there's a major distortion in our perception of things right now as well, which I'll talk about in a minute. But this is kind of that like cold, hard truth, logic energy. It can also be kind of avoidant, but there is a tendency with Mercury square Saturn to be seeing the glass as a bit half empty and kind of be just like accepting that as for what it is, and just forgetting or being unable to perceive all of the more beautiful, positive and hopeful situations that are playing out right now too. We may be a bit blind to the positivity in the midst of this aspect playing out. Although, like I've been saying, with the Jupiter supportive aspect to Saturn right now, there's no way that we are losing total hope in the situation. Like, things may seem gloomy, things may seem a bit bleak, things may seem like they're not moving forward, but there's no way that we are like totally able to lose hope in the future while we have this supportive Jupiter aspect. So, that may be something that we're struggling with, but it's definitely, especially like I said, as we move through this new moon with the opposition to the galactic center, we are likely to gain some type of elevated viewpoint or perspective or wisdom or something that is coming to us that is returning a sense of hope in the form of being able to see the bigger picture, detach ourselves from some of the more minute, more negative details that we may be so immersed with and resonating with right now, and just like kind of helping us to embrace like the potential and the future potential that is to come, instead of feeling so maybe just like burdened or heavy, or like things are stagnant and unchanging. There could also be, over the course of this next couple days, specifically Wednesday into Thursday. Now, I will say Thursday, like I said, June 15th, this is when we have the exact Mercury Saturn square playing out. The 16th, the moon will enter the sign of Gemini, will make a conjunction to Mercury and square to Saturn. So the Thursday the 15th, Friday the 16th, and then on Saturday the 17th, that is when Saturn stations retrograde. So really, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, these are like super, super, super Saturn influenced days. And also, there's a big Mercury influence as well, with the sun in the sign of Gemini, the moon in the sign of Gemini, Mercury in the sign of Gemini squaring Saturn. So there could definitely be some delays in communication, some difficult conversations, or some like harsh words, or there could just be some information type of stuff, messaging type of stuff, communication type of stuff that might leave a little bit of a bad taste in our mouth. But like I said, there is a revelation that is coming. There is some type of major infusion of wisdom into the situation that we have not yet received by even Saturday, when Saturn stations direct. So what we're definitely not doing is we're definitely not losing hope. Although, like I said, Jupiter in the sextile from the sign of Taurus, something valuable is going to come of this Saturn energy. Something valuable is going to come of this retrograde of Saturn that we have coming up. So, it's really like signifying, I feel like, kind of like a time where we are being called to be on some level more responsible and step into a greater alignment with our higher selves, and make sure that we are doing what we know we should be doing, making the right choices, implementing wisdom. This is a time to put our experience and the wisdom that we've gained through experience, like all of the lessons that we've learned, into practice, and show the universe, where we're at and what we're ready for, and how we are actively participating in this process of restructuring, whatever needs to be restructured in order so that we can gain that enhanced level of value in our experience in whatever area of life or whatever way this is playing out individually and for us. Now, with the Wednesday moving into Thursday, we do still have a Taurus moon going on. The moon in Taurus will come into a conjunction with Uranus. So there could be some like unexpected like upsets, or there could just be some kind of like unusual like changes to plans, bizarre information, some like discouraging information that we hadn't anticipated or didn't expect in some type of a way. But like I said, we also have this other aspect playing out, and that's building all week. And this is sort of disorienting things. Things are not truly as they appear this week, and there is probably like perhaps a likelihood to be in some type of, delusional state to a small extent that is like seeing things to be a bit more negative than they actually are. We do have the sun moving into square with Neptune. Sun square Neptune. Whenever we have a Neptune square going on, first of all, this is bringing down physical energy. This is a good week to not have a ton planned, especially also with the square to Saturn. With Mercury square Saturn, like this is things sort of like getting in the way of us getting places on time, like frustrating our ability to, make things happen on schedule and according to plan and in the way that we might like. This is kind of frustrating interpersonal communications and our ability to just like stay on task generally. And when we simultaneously have the Sun Neptune square, this is also like quite a low energy. This is honestly like a great week to catch up on some extra sleep or something like that if you possibly can. You might find yourself just needing some extra sleep generally, or just kind of like zoning out, like not being all with it. But Neptune rules illusions and fantasies and distortions and the invisible realms, that which is unseen. And the Sun, of course, this is our life force energy and like our consciousness and stuff. The square, this is a 90-degree angle. There is something that is deceiving us somehow in terms of like our general understanding of life at this point in time. And it could have a lot to do with that Mercury Saturn square going on, because Mercury and Saturn are squaring each other from the same exact signs as the Sun and Neptune. So if I'm going to wager, I'm going to guess that there's something about the way that we are perceiving ourselves, or that we are perceiving others, or that we are perceiving situations generally, or that we are communicating, or that we are perceiving information as well, that is, in some way distorting our perception of reality. And because these are the squares, this could be creating conflict, this could be creating difficulty, this could be sort of bringing us down, this could be sort of weighing heavy on us, but it is also simultaneously like, what do squares do? Like squares work to create some type of solution, some type of resolution, practical solutions. Pluto at the last degree of Capricorn, some major transformations, like out of recognition of what it is that's truly bothering us, or, a need to, or coming to this place where we realize we need to put more energy or more effort into something in order to like ultimately feel better. This is bringing practical solutions to problems that may have been plaguing us for a while. And it's also just bringing up maybe like where we have been off, or again, where our priorities, maybe have been skewed, the way that we've been thinking or processing information, and the things getting us down, largely perhaps imagined or distorted, or in alignment with like maybe a worst case scenario also that is kind of playing out in our mind right now. Remember how earlier I was talking about how like this is the energy where we can sort of turn the ship around, start going in a new direction, but the catalyst of us like coming to that point might be something that is surfacing, or that perhaps maybe like more worst case scenario type of energy making itself more known to us for one reason or another, and as a result having this impact that really causes us to make some like integral fundamental changes somehow over this next couple months that really change things for us and alter our own future, which is the ultimate calling of universe right now. As this cosmic blueprint unfolds and we move towards the age of Aquarius, we are all altering our timelines, we're changing our futures, we are realigning like the future trajectory based on these frequency changes that are coming to us, what's hitting us now, and how that's altering the choices and decisions that we want to make going forward based on what we are putting this new level of value and attention on in regards to. So you see how that works? That's why I feel like it's important to, you know, that we kind of look at astrology right now in the context of what it's doing for us on this greater scheme of things. Because when we look at it that way, like these small changes that are happening right now gain a whole new level of relevance, because they're really, really important in this process of essentially waking us up to our own purpose, our own potential, our own superpowers, and helping them to activate within us so that we can alter the way that our reality goes going forward in alignment with the spiritual truths that are simultaneously awakening us to all of this process as well. It's all working together. And it's all happening now, and that's why we're talking about it. So, you know, things are likely perhaps to seem significantly or maybe just a bit worse than they actually are, more difficult than they actually are. But this is to help us find practical solutions that will benefit our own growth in our own happiness and fulfillment in the long run. We also have, like I said, you know, the moon on Thursday leaving the sign of Taurus, entering the sign of Gemini, where it will come into a conjunction with Mercury in square to Saturn. Friday, this Saturn square Mercury energy is just going to be expanded. I mean, the moon is a trigger, so it's going to be like a mental and emotional alignment with essentially like the accountability that we need to take, or how we need to be more responsible, or, you know, the changes that we do need to make to aspects maybe like of our daily lives, or, you know, of the way that we're working with our reality to help things move forward for us. Because remember, this is still very much, we've got Jupiter in the North Node at conjunction right now. Like this whole period of time over this spring, basically into this summer with the Jupiter North Node conjunction, has been a lot about helping us to heal old wounds and kind of move in this radically new direction in alignment with this value and with this potential that we are finding within, and simultaneously detach from the things that have been stealing our power or have been toxic to us on a soul level in any type of way. Closing out this karmic detox process, this 1.5-year transit of the nodes of Taurus and Scorpio, and Jupiter having been right there as well, and this conjunction happening at the Chiron point. Like, this has been really huge, and this whole thing right now is helping us to, through the recognition of value and potential, expand and grow into our greater purpose in alignment with that destiny activating energy. Also Uranus in the sign of Taurus right now, but that is coming in alongside the age of Aquarius energy and frequencies. And especially, you know, as Pluto concludes his final transit, his final step, toes dipped into the sign of Capricorn, moves back into the sign of Aquarius, starts this 20-year Pluto Aquarius transit. This is also going to be like really emphasized in the context of self-empowerment that is coming through for us in some big ways as well. That's what this is all working towards, is a much more empowered sense of self, and through that, you know, the changes that happen on a collective level as we move forward into the future. So we are going to have this energy, you know, like I said, very strong on Friday as well, with the moon coming through, the mental, emotional element. There could be a lot of information that is like difficult to process or understand. Cognitive dissonance. Reality, that's another thing with the energy this week with this Sun-Neptune square. Reality being stranger than fiction, to the point where like I can't even believe my eyes, I can't believe my ears, I can't believe what I'm seeing, I can't believe what I'm reading. Like, especially, you know, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, for sure, like there could just definitely be a component of what's going on that is making it very hard for us to accept the apparent truth or facts that seem to be laying themselves before us, and the issues that creates, the conflict that creates cognitively and mentally as a result. So there could just be some very hard to process information coming through that has us questioning the fabric of our reality. That's a good way to put it. That's actually an excellent way to put it with these specific planets that we're talking about in these signs. So narratives breaking down, questions to our ability, like the fabric of our reality, okay, in the context of some type of hard to process information that may for some reason be coming through. So, you know, things could also happen quite suddenly Wednesday into Thursday along these lines with the Uranian influence as well. But Jupiter there, like, it's for the best. It's to promote some type of positive, successful growth, truly gain a greater sense of appreciation, faith, value, or, like I said, like, authentic growth somehow moving forward throughout the Saturn retrograde cycle. So this is a process of maturity. This is a process of gaining a greater level of respect for our responsibilities because we're realizing the value that they lead to. This is, I feel like, sort of sobering us up to the benefit of like good work ethic and stuff like that as well. The value to be reaped through hard work, right? That's another thing that, like I've said, Saturn retrograde does. It pays us back for our efforts over time. And it's also, I feel like, coming as somewhat of a wake-up call. We have Saturn himself, 8 degrees of the sign of Pisces for this square, a girl blowing a bugle. So it is like the karmic law coming through, or the karmic reckoning, or hearing the trumpets, you know, gaining this. And with the new moon happening as well, opposite the galactic center, this is hearing the trumpets. This is, again, that judgment energy, something hitting us, awakening us to a deeper level of truth, a deeper level of perceived value that is causing us to want to change everything to make everything more meaningful and more fulfilling in the process. We've got Mercury in the exact square on Thursday, 8 degrees of the sign of Gemini. That Sabian symbol is aroused strikers surround a factory. So we are ready to do what it takes to take action, to make change when it comes to whatever is not truly serving us anymore. Anything that is not fair, anything that is blocking, right, or hindering our trajectory of growth in alignment, or our trajectory of cultivating that value right now, we are not having it. And this is the transformative process. Like, this is, like I've been saying, a catalyst for some type of major change happening on an individual level, extrapolated out to a collective level, that is causing people to make the most of their situation in a much more meaningful way, and to be less frivolous, okay, about things also, I feel like, is something. Also, Pluto, like I'm saying, in the sign of Capricorn, unsustainable systems of management across the board. This is also changing for good, you know, internally and externally. Our own mental frameworks, our perception of things, the way that we have organized and structured our lives, the way we've sort of been the manager of our own experiences, like, this is breaking down in order to be reborn in a way that is, again, much more supportive of our ability to truly grow and come into alignment with a higher form of our own potential, activate our destiny, as we go throughout the course of this year. And this is happening, you know, in a very lasting way, in a very positive, successful, and enduring way, with the Jupiter Saturn situation, sextile, going on as well. A restructuring that removes distortion and promotes organic growth. So it really is, you know, when we are looking at it from that higher level, when we're looking at it from the cosmic blueprint level as it unfolds itself, like, this really is a good indication. Like, this is a assistive energy that is coming in right now to really help us to take more seriously this transformative process that we're going through. So that's what I have to say about this energy, you guys. I will talk more about Saturn retrograde, you know, as we go through this next couple weeks. I'll talk about it in my new moon video, of course. We'll talk about it next week again, but this, I really feel like, is sort of like the crux of what the Saturn energy is that we have going on this week, why we have this Saturn energy going on right now in the context of the other energy that's unfolding and what it's doing for us moving forward. So I feel like when we come out of this Saturn retrograde period on the other side, I think we'll feel a lot better about the way that we're using our time, the way that we're using our energy. I think we'll have less regrets, and we will be looking even more so positively into creating a constructive future that will have less mistakes. And I mean, we'll always make mistakes, right? But that will be based on a foundation of wisdom gained through experience, and so and true value. And so therefore our priorities will change going forward, and so therefore I feel like we will have less regrets and stuff like that as we move forward through the years following this particular Saturn retrograde activation. So that is what I'm going to say today in terms of the astrology, you guys. Let's talk about the tarot for a quick second. The way these cards are coming out today, I'm seeing this new inspiration that is coming through. Like there is this rebirth process, this life force energy, this invigorating force, this divine inspiration that is trying to assist and drive. Again, this word catalyst keeps coming to me today. That is trying to act as some type of catalyst for the changes that are happening in our life right now. And we got a bunch of cards coming out that are describing this energy more. I feel like we've got the Hanged Man in reverse in the very middle of our spread today. And this to me is talking about some type of an illumination, some type again of a wisdom that we are gaining, a higher level perspective, something being lit up within us. And on either side of the Hanged Man card, we have the King of Pentacles, and then we have Temperance, like in regards again to this true authentic value and how we can actually balance things in our lives in such a way to promote our ability to align with the manifestation potential of this value. The Temperance card, things going back and forth, this is about balance. What do we need to let go of, and what do we need to open to receive in order to come into alignment with the truth of our potential, gaining some type of an enlightenment, gaining some type of an idea, some type of inspiration. Again, talking about the Ace of Wands that came out first in this process. It's like there's some type of knowing or just some type of creative impulse that may be hitting us that is going to actually help us also. With the two other cards that we have associated with this spread are the Six of Swords in reverse and the Five of Cups in reverse. This is helping us to simultaneously move on from mindsets, okay, the Six of Swords in the past that have prevented us from realizing and coming into alignment with our real potential. This is, again, it's like we are no longer abandoning ourselves, okay? With the Six of Swords, it actually came out next to the King of Pentacles. This is like reframing our mind in such a way where we are no longer willing to abandon what could be. I feel like this is also reminding me of sort of re-embracing this inner child energy, which is going to be happening a lot this summer. A lot of inner child healing, a lot of getting back in touch with our inner child, re-embracing our initial passions and stuff like that. And maybe dreams or wishes for our lives that we lost a long time ago or had become overly jaded to and stuff like that. There's something about this enlightenment that's coming through, or this creative inspiration, or this higher understanding, or this balancing out effect even that's coming through, that is helping us to no longer abandon those latent desires or those latent gifts or talent or potential. It's awakening us to the truth of our potential and not letting us move away from that anymore. And simultaneously, it's also Five of Cups in reverse, helping us to remove any guilt or pain, to heal from any guilt or pain or negative feelings associated with perhaps where we had abandoned ourselves in the past, where we had neglected to see our potential, where we had neglected to value ourselves, where we had given up on maybe our hopes for, some type of tangible abundance or fulfilling experience in our lives. So, some type of an enlightenment, some type of gaining of wisdom, some type of even past regret or something coming up, opening our eyes to something, helping us to make a higher, better judgment on something in a way that prevents us or helps us to re-embrace ourselves, to re-embrace our truths, to let go of the guilt maybe associated with anywhere we betrayed ourselves in the past, and to get back in alignment. Like, it's like being reborn again in a lot of ways. Like, yes, this energy can be, and it kind of describes, you know, how I feel like, what I feel like this Saturn energy is doing also. Like, it may be bringing up some difficult things or some loss or some regrets or, you know, what we've done wrong or the time that's gotten away from us, but it's doing so in such a way that is helping us to actually create a better future for ourselves, go through some type of deep and necessary change that is getting us back on course for more positive outcomes going forward. So that's what I'm going to say about the tarot today. And I do feel like it is really kind of mirroring what's going on in the energy, what's going on in the Saturn energy. But this is also Saturn in the sign of Pisces. This is a retrograde. This is a karmic release also from like guilt or from loss or from betrayal or from abandonment issues and stuff like that of the past as well. And it really is, with Pluto in the last degree of Capricorn for Saturn stationing, you know, it really is like bringing down the final structures that were still in any way attaching us or holding up the past version of ourselves that was in a lot of ways attached to these mental frames or these subconscious programming or this wounding or trauma that was that was keeping us in this cycle maybe of like self-abandonment or self-betrayal, or from going in the direction in alignment with our truth and our growth. So anyways, I'm going to stop talking about that now, but that's what I feel like that message is. Let's grab a synchronicity card now. God, Spirit, Universe, what is some guidance, some advice? What is a message that can carry us through this next couple days? What should we keep in mind while we navigate this heavy Saturn energy, all of this strong Saturn retrograde influence that's coming in? It says rest, relax, believe. And like I was saying earlier, you know, if you can this week, sort of give yourself a break, catch up on sleep, just not be so like needing to necessarily like not be so self-critical, okay, not be so like hard on ourselves about stuff. It's probably going to do us some good. And that is also the message and the guidance from God's Spirit Universe today as well. Rest, relax, believe. He feedeth among the lilies until the day breaks and the shadows flee away. Song of Solomon 2:16 through 17. Take refuge among the lilies of God in heaven and dwell upon the concepts of joy, harmony, peace, beauty, and divine law and order. All your plans, journeys, and undertakings will prosper. Continue in this abiding trust and faith in God until the day breaks and the shadows flee away. So if you're dealing, you know, with it this week, things are not as dark as they seem. Remember, Sun square Neptune, there's a massive distortion in our perceptional field. Gemini, Pisces, fantasy, reality in a square. We're not seeing something clearly. It might feel like the realest of the realest of the realest of the real with the Saturn energy this week, but it's only because we're tuned into this very narrow frequency where that is the reality. The actual reality, though, is a much broader and more all-encompassing like frequency fluctuation that does not narrow in on those very Saturn like heavy serious vibes like they are right now. So, you know, things will lighten up. We will gain a very different perspective. Things will feel a lot different, you know, moving, and once we move through this energy. But again, like, it is helping us to gain a greater significance of what it is that's truly important to us, so that actually we can align with that and put more energy and effort into it so that we can actually be happier moving forward. This energy is coming through to actually help us be happier after we go through it. So that's what I have to say today, you guys. Message from the stars, message from the cards. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, you guys. Share it with your friends if you think that they would be interested in narrating the shift of the ages as well, watching this energy as it comes through on a daily basis with us. Leave me comments, you guys. I love your comments. Thank you so much for being here. I'm so grateful for all of you. If you're having experiences that are lining up with what I'm talking about in these reports, please let me know in the comment section below, because I just really appreciate and value knowing how these energies are actually hitting out there in the world. So thank you guys so much. So grateful for all of you. I have a Facebook page, a Facebook group, an Instagram, some other social media stuff if you're into that type of stuff in my description box below. And come back with me on, like I said, on Saturday, I'm going to be putting out Saturday night. Maybe not. Maybe I'll put it. It'll either be on Friday or Saturday night at 12 o'clock or a.m. I will put out my new moon in Gemini video. So that will be the next one. Like I said, this we are bridging from now until then, and it really just is these Saturn influences. And I will see you guys back for the new moon in Gemini. Very magical new moon, exact opposition to the galactic center. I'm looking forward to talking about this one. So I'll be here. You should be here too. You don't want to miss it, you guys. I will see you then, and have a beautiful next couple of days. And until next time, bye guys.